drivers. You're not for drunks, are you? Again, setting the precedent with something that sounds reasonable. But let's expand. And then, of course, Marines at the shooting in Alabama illegally, and the list goes on and on. What did he get? You said court-martialed for treason. What was he saying? We've got to follow our oath? What was he doing?
Basically, against DOD policy, what he did, because there's a DOD policy in place that very clearly states active duty military cannot speak ill of leadership, to include the president. And honestly, per DOD policy, I'm not even supposed to be talking to you right now, but I kind of just gave up on that whole thing because it's ridiculous. I mean, you know, and he was court-martialed under I got a copy of it because I have a friend of mine that works the legal section, and I got a copy of it. It was under treasonous acts or seditious acts, and it's covered under the Uniform Code of Military Justice and so on and so forth. And he was court-martialed for it, and there was a lot of people in my battalion that were very upset with that, but, I mean, we had, you know, there was really no recourse. He had put out he was just going around talking about it. He was writing some letters, you know, this kind of thing, going, hey, here's what's really going on. And
so he was doing this out in the open. Look, the same thing happened in Germany in 1936 and 7 and 38 and 39 and 40 and 41 and 42. And in the end, the tyrants were punished. But when the government openly hands you over to foreign banks, when they openly begin abolishing the Bill of Rights and Constitution, read their oath. The oath is above the policy of the DOD. But I remember when Colonel Stephen Butler spoke out and said, I don't know what's going on here, but we trained hijackers at the Defense Language School, and these guys were government agents. So Bush at least let this happen. Muhammad Atta was here. They began the court-martial on him until he just said he would shut up, and they dropped it. That was the head of the school. I mean, you got hijackers, you're training as spies. 3 months later, you see them on the national news as Al-Qaeda attacking you, and you're not supposed to talk about it. You're supposed to let the buildings get blown up. You're supposed to turn your guns in. You're supposed to let the UN run everything. I'm so sad to hear that this happened to your friend.
Well, I you know, and he went back to his home state, and he was like, you know, whatever, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I said, hey, man, you know, good on you.
So they didn't put him in prison for the treason of speaking out against treason. They just kicked him out.
Yeah, he was kicked out on his discharge papers. It was dishonorable discharge for treason for speaking out basically against the president, who we, you know, have to say, you know, commander-in-chief, all that. But regardless of all that,
but you know who his commander is? His commander is the Congress. That's why we haven't declared war since World War II. The Congress is supposed to declare the war and give the orders to the president. He then executes. He executes. But now they've made it where he is the boss, just like in Germany. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's all right. But I did want you to know I got your copy of Fall of the Republic, the Obama deception, all that. I very quietly had a lot of guys in my platoon watching it. I mean, they were shocked, and I've sent it to my family. I'm still trying to get my dad on board. He's a retired police officer, and he's real, you know, there's no way the government's doing this. It's ridiculous, blah, blah. So I've been trying to get
Tell you what, stay there. Don't hang up, John. I want to talk to you more. This is a perfect microcosm, because I'm sure your father is a great person, and he's got a rude awakening.
Mike Stenerson from...
They raged against the crown, another ragtag band.
They railed against the crown, another ragtag band, declaring
independence. They laid their bodies down.
Laid their bodies down
in a bloody war.
On a bloody war.
For liberty. For their descendants. Thanks to the renegades. Steve Voss. We're going to go back to John here in a moment. More of your calls. I wanted to read the former head of the Treasury Department, Dr. Paul Craig Roberts' article today, Are You Ready for the Next Crisis? Evidence that the U.S. is a failed state is piling up faster than I can record it. One conclusive hallmark of a failed state is that crooks are inside the government using government to protect and to advance their private interest. Another conclusive hallmark is rising income inequity as the insiders manipulate economic policy for their enrichment at the expense of everyone else. The bankers are in charge. Forget if you're in the military criticizing Obama. Do not do it. You're not supposed to do that if you're in the military. But they try to say, don't criticize his policies. And that is your right as a citizen to criticize what the government's doing. And there's nothing more patriotic. This was taught for 200 years. But in the last 30 or 40 years, it's been taught you don't criticize the government, you do whatever it says. It's the boss, it's the officials, they're the authorities, we're the servants. Ladies and gentlemen, when the Army and Marine Corps are doing gun confiscation drills coast to coast, confirmed in mainstream news, that's treason. That's a banana republic. And we'd better hope we reach the military and police before it's too late. But going back to John, you talk about your father, a retired police officer, saying, I just can't believe the government would do that. What is he talking about? Richard Nixon, Bill Clinton, all the lies, all the banks getting record bonuses when they've stolen tens of trillions, saying it was for mortgages. And then the next day after they passed it, October 3rd, October 4th, they say we're not going to use it for mortgages now.
Yeah, and you know, and I've put all the information out there. I begged him to watch Fall of the Republic and all this. He was a policeman for 32 years, retired. I mean, he very honorable career, very honorable man. It's just, you know, I don't know if
he associates himself with the government. So because he's good, the government must be good, and that's what the Germans did.
Yeah, and you know, and I myself as a government employee, as a part of the U.S. Marine Corps, you know, it took me the last couple months to start really realizing what you were saying, and as soon as I did, I went, Jesus, I mean, my God, what is going on? And I really started looking at it. I didn't believe you at first. I went and verified everything that you were saying, got on the White House's website, all that stuff, and I just went, my God, this guy's correct. And I just want you to know, I mean, I'm a member of Oath Keepers, you know, all that stuff. I put the word out to my guys, and please don't get the impression, I don't want you guys to think that, you know, just because, you know, we're standing here in uniform as uniformed Marines, you know, there's a whole other thing going on here. We swore an oath. I've been sworn in twice in 8 years, and the oath that I took said all enemies, foreign and domestic. So
let me ask you this question while we have you, John, and we appreciate you, and we think everybody in the uniform are good, not bad. It's the leadership that's been taken over by foreign offshore banks. Thomas Barnett is a top War College professor, and he brags how our military works for offshore banks and Wall Street, and they clearly want to use the military against the people. It was wrong in Waco. It's wrong today, and there's nothing wrong with you saying you're going to follow your oath, but at the same time, we need good men and women in the military, and we don't need you to get in trouble. So be sure and watch your P's and Q's there. But at the same time, you mentioned that you are aware of training to run checkpoints with the police. Tell us about that.
Yeah, our once again, I'm not going to put out any unit information or anything like that.
No, that's fine. Don't.
Operational security, but yeah, we have military police that work very closely with Department of Homeland Security, with Border Patrol, also with out here in California, also with the California Highway Patrol. They roll out on accidents. They roll out on shooting calls in conjunction. As a matter of fact, the military police recently in the Marine Corps, as well as across the branches of service, have they've contracted, and I'm not sure the name of the company, they've contracted with a civilian agency, because you go on through any of the access points on Camp Pendleton now, and I found this is Marine Corps wide, as well as Navy. Throughout the Navy, they're getting rid of the military police, and they're going to a civilianized gate guards. The guys that patrol through Camp Pendleton as part of the military police are...
Hold on, do 2 more minutes with us, and we're going to go to other calls. But specifically, though, did you hear about them going off the base, running checkpoints with police? Totally illegal. We'll be right back. Stay there, John.
We're on the
Riders on the storm.
When I say foreign offshore corporations are overthrowing the United States, they are. They set up a police state. They're using the military and police domestically. They're putting regular Army and Marines in police departments. It's in the newspaper, but it's being very quietly announced. And you notice the training with John, we're going back to him. He said, well, I don't want to give up any of our operational procedures. See, we shouldn't be having discussions about operational procedures with the American people as if we're the enemies. And I'm not saying John's saying that, but that's what that term signifies. I remember when we interviewed the Alice police chief in South Texas on the coast. We interviewed Thomas Sanchez, the head of emergency management in Kingsville County.